okay, the rescue with no victim. At 3:17 p.m. on a crowded Saturday, the whistle blew. Parents shaded their eyes. Kids stopped mid-splash. For 2 seconds, the public pool fell silent. Then the lifeguard leapt from his chair. He hit the water hard, cutting a straight line toward the deep end, one arm over the other with practice speed. Witnesses say they saw him take a deep breath and dive. He stayed under longer than usual, 30 seconds, 40. When he surfaced, he was gasping, eyes wild, shouting for help. But there was nobody in his arms. No coughing child. No struggling swimmer. On deck, the head guard had already started clearing the pool, screaming for everyone to get out. Roll call was taken. Wristbands counted. Every kid, every teen, every adult accounted for. No one was missing. Security cameras glitched during the exact 40 seconds he was underwater. The town called it a false alarm. Stress. Burnout. The lifeguard called it something else. He said he felt someone pulling him down, and when he grabbed back, there was a hand. This is the story of the lifeguard who was the only witness to a drowning that didn't happen. You're watching Enter the Crime. The pool at Riverside Community Center is nothing special. 6 lanes, 1 diving board, a shallow end where toddlers cling to floaties. On summer weekends, it fills with families escaping the heat, teenagers working on tans and cannonballs, lap swimmers grudgingly share space. The rules are standard. No running, no glass. Obey the lifeguards. The lifeguards, mostly college students and upper high schoolers, rotate between chair duty, deck walking, breaks in the shade. On this Saturday, July 23rd, the schedule puts Eli Moreno, 21, in the stand overlooking the deep end from 3 to 3:30 p.m. Eli has been guarding for 3 summers. He's certified, experienced, and has 3 saves under his belt. He's not a rookie. He knows the difference between a kid playing and a kid drowning. Or at least he did. From 3 to 3:15 p.m., the deep end looks normal. Cameras show 2 teens are diving and racing, a group of middle schoolers clinging to the rope line, adults chatting at the edge, legs in the water. Eli scans just like he's trained to left to right, surface to bottom, back again every 10 seconds. He later tells investigators, "It was busy, but not crazy. I could see everyone. Nothing looked off." At 3:12 p.m., the head guard, Renee, does a quick deck walk past his stand. She glances up. He gives her a thumbs up. At 3:14 p.m., a parent flags him down to ask about swim lessons. He keeps his eyes on the water while answering. He doesn't miss a beat. On the security footage, his gaze never fully leaves the pool. At 3:16 p.m., something changes. His posture stiffens. His head snaps to the left, toward the shadowy end near the lane lines. He squints. Then he blows his whistle. 3 short blasts. Emergency. The whistle cuts through the noise. Renee's head snaps up. Kids pause. On video, you can see Eli stand, drop his rescue tube, and step clean out of the chair. He doesn't hesitate. He doesn't point. He doesn't shout, you, get out. He just jumps. He hits the water hard enough to send a wave slapping against the far wall. Witnesses describe, he went straight down, like a rock. Didn't hesitate, didn't look around. He was going after something. He surfaces for a brief second, takes a massive breath, then jackknifes under again, heading for the deepest point, 12 feet, where the pool slopes down. The water is clear. On the camera feed, you can see shapes moving beneath him. Then the picture cracks. For 40 seconds, the camera pointed at the deep end is mounted high on the rec center wall. It records in 1080p continuously with a 30-day backup. From 3 to 3:16 p.m., the footage is perfectly normal. At 3 hours, 16 minutes, and 42 seconds, 4 seconds after Eli dives, the image freezes mid-frame. The timestamp continues. The filter overlay continues. But the water surface is a paused smear of motion. Kids on the edge are locked mid-gasp. For 40 seconds, the recording doesn't move. Then, at 3 hours, 17 minutes, and 22 seconds, the video jumps. Suddenly, Eli is on the surface again, thrashing, shouting. The camera never shows him underwater. IT later reports, no power interruption, no known software crash, no logs of manual interference, just a single block of corrupted data, perfectly aligned with the time he spent beneath the surface. The other cameras, the one aimed at the kiddie pool shows a brief flicker, then continues. The lobby camera is fine. The parking lot cam is fine. Only the deep end camera lost time. As soon as Eli's whistle sounds, Renee springs into protocol. She blows her own whistle and screams, "Everybody out!" Other guards move to the exits, guiding people up the ladders. Parents scramble to grab their kids. When Eli surfaces again, he's yelling, "I got him, no, wait! Where is he? Where is he?" But his arms are empty. He claws at the water as if looking for something that just slipped from his fingers. Renee reaches out with her tube, hooks him, and hauls him to the wall. "Who? Who are you talking about?" she shouts. He gasps. "Kid. Little kid. Blue trunks. He was at the bottom. He grabbed me. I had him." There is no kid in blue trunks unaccounted for. Deck staff start counting. Wristbands by color. Head counts at both ends of the pool. Names checked against the sign-in sheet. Every family group is intact. No one is frantically searching for a child. No one screams, "Where's my son?" Yet Eli is shaking so hard he can't climb out of the water. In the small office behind the front desk, Renee closes the door and sits across from Eli. He's wrapped in a towel, still wet hair dripping onto the chair. His lips are blue, not from cold, from shock. She records his statement as protocol requires. He says, "I saw a shadow at the bottom. First, I thought it was a towel or something, you know how stuff falls in. But then it moved." He insists he saw a small body near the main drain, one arm reaching up, slow, like in a dream, hair floating around a face. He dove. He says, "I hit the bottom and I felt resistance, like the water was thicker there. I grabbed for his arm, and something grabbed me back." He describes fingers around his wrist, cold, much colder than the surrounding water. A pulling sensation like being yanked down despite already being at the bottom. He panicked. He kicked off the floor as hard as he could. The grip slipped. He came up alone. He's certain it was real. Everyone else is certain there was no one to save. Whenever something unexplainable happens in a public place, someone eventually says, "You know, there was a story about this place." Riverside's pool is no exception. Built in the late 80s, it's been the center of summer life for decades. It also has a stain on its history. In 1993, a 5-year-old boy named Caleb Myers drowned in the deep end during a crowded open swim. Back then, fewer guards, no cameras, poor sight lines. Witnesses said he slipped under quietly, without splashing, and by the time someone noticed, he was gone. Eli knows this story. He's heard the older maintenance guy, Frank, mention it. Frank's the one who still calls the deep end Caleb's Corner when the pool is closed. No one tells parents that nickname, but staff know. Operating permits were renewed, safety measures upgraded. The official line is that the pool is safe now. Bodies move on. Buildings remember. The city has to treat the incident seriously. A lifeguard dove. An emergency was called. The pool was cleared. Costs, refunds, and trust. They bring in a city risk manager, a psychologist who specializes in first responder trauma, a technician to inspect the cameras and pool systems. The official conclusion combines acute stress response, burnout, possibly a visual illusion from light refraction and surface glare. Eli is offered leave. He's encouraged to see a therapist. Off the record, another guard says, "He's not making it up. I saw his face when he came up. That wasn't someone who misread a splash." Parents on the block chat threads debate whether to keep bringing their kids. Some joke, nervously, "Pool's haunted, LOL." Others stop buying season passes. For Eli, it gets worse. He starts having nightmares. In them, he's back on the stand. The water is empty. He blinks, and suddenly the deep end is crowded with pale shapes just beneath the surface. All of them are reaching up. None of them broke the water. 3 weeks after the incident, the rec center reopens fully. Eli refuses to go back to work. He quits. Renee stays. On a slow Tuesday evening, just before closing, she reviews the live camera feeds from the office. The pool is nearly empty. A lap swimmer in lane 2, a kid practicing dives under supervision. On the deep end monitor, something catches her eye. For a fraction of a second, she sees a shape near the bottom. Not solid, not clear, more like a darker patch within the blue. She leans closer. The feed flickers, freezes, then jumps. The timestamp stutters by 3 seconds. Her skin crawls. She calls IT. They check the system. Again, no logged error, no dropped connection. When she asks if a single camera can glitch without hardware failure, the tech shrugs. Maybe. Electrical noise, interference. Could be nothing. But Renee remembers Eli's face. She remembers him gasping, insisting he felt fingers around his wrist. And she remembers something else. In the original 1993 report, one witness, a teenage guard back then, used the same words. It felt like something was pulling him from below. No one wrote that in the final summary. But trauma keeps its own minutes. Years later, the city decides to renovate the rec center. New tiles, new cameras, new filtration. The deep end is drained. For the first time in decades, the bottom is dry. Frank, the old maintenance worker, walks slowly along the empty basin. He runs a hand along the main drain cover. He whispers, mostly to himself, "You can rest now, kid. No one else is there to hear." They pressure wash the walls. They repaint. When the pool refills, it looks brand new. The incident with Eli becomes a story that staff tell new guards as a cautionary tale about stress. You can't save everyone. Don't let your brain trick you. But sometimes, late in the day, when the sun comes through the big west windows just right, the deep end looks darker than it should. Not shadow, not dirt, just a subtle suggestion of depth that feels bigger than 12 feet. Parents don't notice. Kids don't notice. Lifeguards notice. And every once in a while, when a guard sits in the deep end chair for the first time, they report feeling something strange. A prickle at the back of the neck. A sense that someone is watching from below. They look down. The water is clear. No one is there. They keep scanning. Whether what grabbed Eli that day was a hallucination under pressure, trauma reaching forward from 1993, or something that refuses to be counted on a roll sheet. The job is the same. Watch the water. Blow the whistle if anything moves the wrong way. Dive if you must, even if you come up with nothing. You've been watching Enter the Crime.